You probably thought the summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 gave us answers, right? Belly chose, tears were shed, hearts were broken, and the story wrapped in a neat bow. But here's the twist nobody wants to admit. Season 3 didn't give us closure at all. It gave us a setup. A setup for something bigger, bolder, and maybe even more heartbreaking than the movie. And that's why today we're ranking every single episode of Season 3. But not just from worst to best. No, we're breaking them down by how each one secretly planted seeds for the movie, how every tear, every kiss, every betrayal was part of a master plan. And trust me, by the time we hit Phase 1, you'll realize Season 3 was never the ending, it was only the beginning. But before we dive in, answer me this: did Season 3 actually resolve the love triangle, or did it just leave Belly stuck in another loop of heartbreak? Because when I rewatched these episodes, I couldn't shake the feeling that the writers want us divided. They want the Team Conrad and Team Jeremiah wars to rage on. Why? Because conflict is the only way to keep fans hooked until the movie. Let's get one thing straight: I don't care if you're Team Conrad, Team Jeremiah, or secretly Team Belly deserves better. This ranking is going to hurt. And yes, I'll only say this once. If you want to see how this show's ending was actually a secret beginning, hit subscribe. Because trust me, the forbidden truths hiding in these episodes are what no casual viewer is supposed to see. The problem nobody wants to admit: Season 3 should have been closure. Instead, it turned into chaos. Belly's final choice doesn't feel final. Conrad's brooding isn't finished. Jeremiah's heartbreak isn't healed. And the fans, we're left screaming at our screens like Susanna's ghost is trolling us from beyond. Remember when Belly told Conrad she loved him, but the very next episode made it look like Jeremiah still had a chance? That's not bad writing. That's intentional suspense. The writers didn't give us a clean ending because they never planned to. They're dragging this triangle into the movie, and we were too busy crying into our popcorn to notice. So, with that brutal truth out of the way, let's dive into the rankings. Buckle up, because every low-ranked episode might just be the most important setup for what's coming next. Episode 11, The Calm Before the Chaos, lowest rank. I'm not going to lie. Episode 11 felt like filler on first watch. The pacing dragged, the love triangle stalled, and fans complained it was one of the weakest installments. But here's where the secret lies. Episode 11 was deliberately calm. Why? Because the writers needed one quiet hour to slip in hidden foreshadowing. Notice the way Jeremiah looks at Belly during that beach bonfire scene. It's not desperation, it's conviction. That's the look of someone who believes the story isn't finished. And when Conrad avoids speaking his true feelings, it's not laziness, it's setup. They're saving his real confession for the movie. If episode 11 was boring, it's because it wasn't about the now. It was about planting time bombs for later. And those bombs are ticking louder than ever. Episode 10, The Ghost of Susanna. Now, this episode hit harder. The entire narrative is haunted by Susanna, her memory, her absence, her legacy. On the surface, it's Belly navigating grief. But underneath, it's the writers whispering. Susanna's influence isn't over. Every time Belly hesitates in love, it's because of Susanna's voice echoing in her head. And here's my forbidden theory. The movie isn't just about Belly choosing a boy. It's about Belly finally breaking free from Susanna's shadow. Think about it: Conrad and Jeremiah are both shaped by their mother's death. Belly is trapped between them because she's still tied to Susanna's dream of hundless summers. But what if the movie destroys that dream once and for all? What if Susanna's ghost becomes the invisible fourth character of the triangle? That's why episode 10 isn't just emotional, it's prophetic. Episode 9, Jeremiah's breaking point. Oh, episode 9. The moment Jeremiah fans either cried themselves to sleep or stood up screaming at their TVs. This episode gave Jeremiah raw, undeniable humanity. He wasn't just the fun brother anymore. He was the boy on the verge of losing everything. But here's where the ranking gets controversial. Jeremiah's pain in this episode wasn't just about Belly. It was about setting up his movie arc. Because let's be honest, the show wouldn't pour this much emotion into him just to leave him as the loser brother. That's too easy. Episode 9 is proof that Jeremiah isn't out. He's just waiting. And if you think Season 3 ended the love triangle, Episode 9 laughs in your face. This wasn't the end of Jeremiah's story. It was the rebirth of his fight. And let me ask you directly, if the movie gives Jeremiah the final word, would you be furious or secretly satisfied? Drop it in the comments. Because I know this fandom is split straight down the middle. We've already torn through episodes 11-9 and exposed how even the weakest. Chapters were ticking time bombs. But now, we're entering the dangerous middle, the episodes that didn't just hint at the future, they practically screamed. This story isn't done. And trust me, this is where Season 3 really stopped being a show and started being a trailer for the movie. Episode 8, The Unspoken Confession. Episode 8 feels like one of those classic, almost moments. Belly and Conrad circling each other like planets destined to collide. Jeremiah hovering on the edges, heart wide open but ignored. Fans called it frustrating, and honestly, they're right. But that's exactly why this episode matters. Think about it: if Conrad had just confessed it, if Belly had just chosen, if Jeremiah had just walked away, the love triangle would be over. But Episode 8 deliberately refuses to give us closure. It ends on hesitation, silence, and unfinished business. And here's the forbidden secret. Episode 8 proves the writers are addicted to tension. They don't want resolution because resolution kills engagement. And guess what sells tickets for the movie? Engagement. So here's my question for you. Be honest. Did you love the tension, or did you hate it? Because if you hated it, congratulations, the writers got exactly what they wanted. They want you angry, screaming, divided. That's how they trap us until the big screen finale. Episode 7, Susanna's Shadow returns. This one, oh, it's brutal. Episode 7 drags Susanna's presence back into the story, and it's more than just nostalgia. It's manipulation. Notice how every key choice Belly makes in this episode is tied to Susanna's memory. The beach house, the traditions, the endless summer, ideal. It's like Susanna is a ghostly puppet master pulling the strings of the living. Here's my theory. Episode 7 isn't about Belly choosing between Conrad and Jeremiah. It's about whether she can ever escape Susanna's grip. Because if Susanna's shadow lingers, Belly's choices aren't her own. They're Susanna's dream being replayed through her. And let me just say this. What if the movie is the moment Belly finally breaks free? What if choosing herself, not Conrad, not Jeremiah, is the ultimate ending? Would you riot if Belly ends up single at the end? Or would you secretly respect it? Comment your team below, because I know some of you want chaos. Episode 6, Jeremiah's Last Stand. If Episode 9 was Jeremiah's breaking point, Episode 6 was his battlefield. This is the moment Jeremiah truly throws himself into the fight for Belly's heart, and you can feel the desperation bleeding through the screen. But here's what I noticed. Jeremiah isn't just desperate, he's strategic. He's framing himself as the safe choice, the dependable, loving brother who won't run away like Conrad. And this isn't just romance, it's survival. Because Jeremiah knows something Belly doesn't. Conrad will always self-destruct when things get real. And honestly, Episode 6 is Jeremiah's smartest play yet. But let's pause here. Poll time: if you were Belly, would you pick the safe brother who gives you stability, or the tortured soul who might destroy you but makes your heart race? Drop it in the comments, because I bet the split will be brutal. And here's where I'll self-roast me personally. I'd 100% choose the chaos option. Call me toxic. But stability is overrated when heartbreak makes for better story.